Hello astronomers, myself Ranjit Kumar. I am an astronomer and an astronomy educator with Space India. In this video we are going to unbox Meade Infinity 70AZ refractor telescope. So let's unbox this telescope. So we have these three boxes and a manual and a CD. So I'm going to keep both the manual and the CD aside. So let's concentrate on these three boxes. So first I'm going to open the bigger box. So in this box we have an accessory tray and we have the tripod. So I'm going to take the tripod out from the cover. When you unbox the tripod box, make sure it has all the three sides, the screws are inserted. So let's open the second biggest box. So we have optical tube in this box. So let's open the cover. And when you remove the optical tube, make sure you are removing with proper care. So here comes the last small box. So let's see what we have in the smaller box. So we have a finder scope. So let me take the cover. We have the optical diagonal. So two different types of screwdrivers. And we have three boxes inside it. So in these three boxes we have one 26mm eyepiece and the other one 4mm eyepiece, and we also have a 2x Barlow. So these are the parts we have from the 70AZ Meade refractor telescope. So let's understand how to assemble the telescope. In the assembling part of the video, first I have taken the tripod. So first let's understand how to make a tripod ready. This tripod seems very small, but we can extend the tripod. So here at the bottom you can see there are three knobs. So if you loosen the knob, we can extend the tripod. So once you have extended, then tighten the knob. So similarly do the same for the other two sides. So when you extend your tripod, make sure all the three legs of the tripod are in same height. So we can easily fold our tripod and we can easily expand the tripod. So to control this, here we have the accessory tray. We have to fix the accessory tray on the support. So you can see there are three screws on the accessory tray. Just to remove those three screws. So now I have removed, and you can find there are three holes on the support. There are three holes. So what you have to do, you have to make sure the three holes from the accessory tray coincide with the three holes on the support. So like this, and this time you have to put the screw from the bottom part. Don't tighten one side of the screw completely. It will be difficult for you to fix the other two screws. So slightly make it loose so that you can fix it for the other two sides easily. Once all the three sides the screws are inserted, you can tighten the screws. So now our telescope cannot be compressed and cannot be extended. We can also keep our eyepieces on the accessory tray. So I have two eyepieces I'm going to keep on the accessory tray. So now that is it from the tripod part. So let's take the optical tube and let's understand how to assemble the optical tube on the tripod. So now we are ready with the optical tube. So in the optical tube you can find there are two knobs on the sides and we have one altitude adjustment rod. So I will tell you what is the use of this rod. So first what I am going to do, I am going to remove the two knobs. So next you can find on the tripod also, you can see there is a knob over here, silver color knob. So just to loosen the knob, next step, you have to insert the rod on the hole. So you can find there is a hole. So you have to insert this rod on this hole. And then you have to make sure these two things will be placed on the support. Like this. So once you have kept this, so first tighten this. Then take the two screws and put on the sides. Once we attach the optical tube with the tripod, next step we have to attach the finder scope on the optical tube. So here I have taken the finder scope. So from the finder scope you can see the base of the finder scope. And on the telescope optical tube you can find there are two screws. So just to loosen the screws, take out the screws. And you can see there are two holes on the base of the finder scope. Just insert the extension from the optical tube on the holes like this and put the screws back. And make sure you are pointing the finder scope in such a way the glass part has to point the front side. So we have fixed the finder scope with the optical tube. Next thing, we have to insert the star diagonal. So I'm going to take the star diagonal. So this part is called a star diagonal. You can find there are two caps. Just take out the caps. And there is a cap over here. Also remove this cap. So you can find there is a silver color part from the star diagonal. Insert the silver color part. So if it is not going inside means loosen the screws. Once inserted, tighten the screws so that it will not come out of the optical tube. So this should not come out from the optical tube. So now almost our telescope setup is ready. So we have to fix the eyepiece next. So we have two different kinds of eyepieces. One 26 mm and the other one 4 mm. The basic difference between the two eyepieces will be the magnification. So with 4 mm eyepiece we can magnify up to 78 times. With 26 mm eyepiece we can magnify up to 27 times. So this is the basic difference between the two eyepieces. And we have one more thing called Barlow. So whatever the magnification we get from these two eyepieces, if we use Barlow, the magnification will be double. So since it is a 2x Barlow, if you use a 3x Barlow, the magnification will be 3 times the magnification as we get from the eyepiece. So this is the use of these three lenses. So now I am going to insert the eyepiece, but here I am choosing the 26 mm eyepiece. As 26 mm covers more area, we can point the object easily and it is best for beginners to begin with. So I am taking the 26 mm eyepiece, I am removing the cap from the two sides. And again the silver color part from the eyepiece has to be put inside like this. So once it is done, you can see there is a screw over here. Just tighten the screw so that our eyepiece will not come out. So this is how we put the eyepiece. And for Barlow, so I am going to remove this eyepiece and then I am going to take the Barlow. So you can see there is a cap on the Barlow. Just remove the cap. And then you can see the silver color part. Again the silver color part has to be put inside like this. If it is not going inside, loosen the screws. So once it is inserted, tighten the screws. You can insert this part of the Barlow inside the star diagonal. So once it is inserted, you can tighten it. So that is it from the assembling part of the telescope. Let's understand how to align this telescope towards any particular object. So for aligning, I am going to take the Barlow out from the telescope. I am going to keep only the 26 mm eyepiece. So to align this particular telescope towards any object, first we have to understand the use of two things. First, the use of this knob, and second, the use of this knob, these two knobs. So if you loosen this knob, then you can do the altitudinal movement, the top and bottom movement. See? So that's why it is called as altitude lock rod. So if you lock this rod, you will not be able to move your telescope in the altitude direction. Similarly, this lock is called as azimuthal lock. If you loosen this, you can make the telescope to move left and right movement. So if you locked it, you will not be able to move your telescope towards left and right direction. That's why it is called as 70 AZ. The AZ stands for azimuthal and altitudinal moment. So now I hope you understood the role of these two knobs. To point this telescope towards any particular object, we have to first align the finder scope with the optical tube, because it will be easy for us to first find the object in the finder scope as it covers more area than the eyepiece. So for that, what we have to do, we have to first align our telescope towards any terrestrial object. Terrestrial object in the sense you can align a nearby tree, building, a tower, anything you can align. So once you align, keep your eye on the eyepiece and make sure that the object comes in the center of the eyepiece. So here we have the eyepiece. So once it comes to the center of the eyepiece, now go to the finder scope and then you can find there are three knobs over here. So one at the bottom, one at the top and one at the side. So these two knobs plays an important role in aligning the finder scope with the optical tube. So the knob on the front plays a major role because when you turn the knob on, so it's a kind of switch. When you turn the knob on, you can find there will be a light, red color light coming from this part of the finder scope. Now I can see a red color light from this side. So that's the role of this knob. If you want to point any object, first make sure that light is turned on. Once you are not pointing any object, you can turn the light off. Now I'm going to off the light. So this knob is used to turn the light on and off for the finder scope. So next, the role of these two knobs. So this knob makes a finder scope to move in left to right movement, and similarly this knob makes a finder scope to move top to bottom movement. So once you make the object at the center of the eyepiece, you have to make sure that object will come to the center of the finder scope also. So while doing this, turn the red light on, go and keep your eyes on this place on the edge, and then align these two parts. Use these two knobs and make the same object in the center of the finder scope as well. So once that object comes in the center of the finder scope, now everything is done. Your telescope is ready to point the night sky objects. For night sky objects, it will be difficult for us to point as most of the places in the sky is empty. Only certain regions we can see some stars. So in that case, it is very important to align the finder scope with the optical tube. Sometimes when you look the object from the eyepiece, the object may be blurred. So that is because the image is unfocused. So to get the focused image, you can see there are two knobs. So these two knobs are called as focuser. So you can adjust these two knobs. See, it is now expanding. So the focal point will also be changing. So depending upon your eyesight, you can fix the focus and then you can lock the focus. So this is how you need to focus the object. And when doing all these things, make sure you have removed the cap from the optical tube. If you have not removed the cap, you cannot be able to see anything. So remove the cap and do all the observations, and that is it from my side in this assembling part of the telescope. And I hope you learned how to unbox, how to assemble, how to point this telescope towards any particular object. So that is it from my side, and wish you all clear skies. Until next time, bye from my side. Bye bye everyone.